Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of my new series, Positive, Encouraging Discussions. So what is this series all about? Well, my vision for it, it's pretty grandiose, but you know what they say, you aim for the stars, and even if you fall short, you'll land on the moon. I would love to use this series as a platform to talk about veterans issues. Sounds simple enough, right? Well, I'd like it to be more than just me talking at you. I'd love to be able to interview other veterans, organizations, kind of like a podcast where we can, talk about stuff that's out there to help vets, where vets can talk about their experiences. I'd love to be able to just bring together hundreds of vets to create a community where we're learning from each other, building each other up, and helping each other out. And maybe we'll get there one day. But for right now, we'll just start one step at a time, and we'll get right into this first episode of my new series. Episode 1 is The Struggle is Real. In my opinion, this is one of the biggest stumbling blocks to a lot of veterans out there, realizing that they have struggles, realizing that they are struggling. And even if they do, kind of start to realize it, not kind of fully understanding it can really hold them back from sticking with it and actually making progress. Realizing that you're struggling, it's hard. I mean, heck, what does everybody say? Admitting you have a problem is the first step. And I don't like the word problem. It's a problem that we use the word problem. I just said problem a lot. I got 99 problems. And verbiage is 1. Now I just lost my train of thought. You aren't a problem. You aren't. You're not broken. You're not some broken thing that needs to be pieced back together. But you might be struggling. And that's fine. But you have to acknowledge it. So story time, a little bit about me. I was in the Army for 11 years. I was a Cav Scout. I like to think that I was extremely good at my job. Promoted ahead of peers, selected to be a drill sergeant, inducted into the Audie Murphy Club, Brigade Non-Commissioned Officer of the Year. In my personal life, I was married. I had a newborn son. I thought everything was Gucci, right? It's great. But I was struggling with a lot of stuff, a lot of issues from my first deployment to Iraq. I won't go into too much detail right now, but I saw a lot of things. I was in direct combat frequently. Saw a lot of things I maybe wish I hadn't. Did some things I wish I hadn't. Watched a very good close friend of mine die right in front of me. And that causes a lot of issues to most everybody. So I thought it was going great, and then seemingly like in the just blink of an eye, right? I was being fired as a drill sergeant. I was being command referred to behavioral health, and they started the medical retirement process for me. And I'm just sitting here like what? Like I'm looking at my buddies, to the left and right of me. Some of them I know had seen and done far worse than what I had done, and they're fine. Like I fought the retirement at first. There's nothing wrong with me. Like what are y'all talking about? But here I am going through the medical retirement process, getting separated, getting divorced. My life is in shambles, and it seemed to me like it was an overnight thing. And it took me a while to realize, hey, I'm struggling. If I had realized it 5 years earlier, maybe things would have been different. But it took me a minute to say, okay, I'm struggling. Like I said, it took me a long time to accept and realize that I was struggling. And, I think a lot of it probably has to do with, the military environment. I'm not sure if it's changed. I doubt it has. But when I was in, almost a decade ago, but when I was in, PTSD was a taboo topic. Like, no, no, and then in the military culture, it's from day zero in basic training. It's ingrained in you. Like, suck it up, drive on, rub some dirt on it, you'll be fine. Keep moving. And that mindset can hold you back. That machismo, like, oh, I'm a man, like I gotta keep trucking. Like, it can make things hard, right? And it wasn't until I was all the way retired that I finally started to admit these things, right? And I was all the way out. And even after that, there's a lot of hang-ups that made stuff hard. It's been a long road for me. I'm sure it's been a long road for a lot of you watching. And so for example, I attended a intensive outpatient program at the local mental health facility here outside of Fort Benning, and I made it about 2 days before the doctors and I came to the mutual agreement that it was not the best fit for me and I shouldn't come back. And why did that happen? Well, we were in group talking about our issues, right? And I'm sitting here with the stuff that I've got from deployment. There's a girl in there that was a survivor of rape. These like serious bad things. And then there's this older guy. He was 55-ish, probably, mid-late 50s. And he was in this intensive outpatient program because he was getting bullied at work and couldn't handle it. And I lost it. I exploded. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we got rape survivors, we've got suicidal people, we've got me. Like, what are you doing in here getting bullied? Like, get the F out of here. You can't be serious. And so the doctor pulled me into his office and we talked for a little bit, because I wasn't really ready to admit that everybody struggles. I know a lot of you, it reminded me of a TV show called Rescue Me. I don't know if you've ever seen this TV show with Dennis Leary in it, about firefighters in New York. And this firefighter goes to a 9/11 support group, and he realizes, after everyone kind of goes around and talks, that like he was the only one at ground zero. Like, the rest of these people, some of them weren't even in the city, but they're in the support group because it's just so much anxiety and depression and sadness from 9/11, and he explodes, right? Just like I did. And I know a lot of you watching right now are probably having the same reaction that I did. Like, that's ludicrous. But it's not. And it's hard to let that sink in, right? So let me break it down for you. The way I see it, we're all containers, okay? Maybe I'm a gallon, maybe you're 3 gallons, maybe that 55-year-old man was just a 1-cup container. And then you start pouring all these struggles and incidents and issues, and that's the liquid that fills the container, right? And if you've only got a cup, when it overflows, it overflows. And the way I see it, you can't change the size of your container. You can't. but you can work on what gets put into it. Now, this isn't to say that some struggles are worse than other struggles. Let me stop you right there before you start commenting like, are you crazy? Like, yes, obviously getting raped is much worse than getting bullied at work. Okay, but let's go back to this container analogy. If getting bullied at work is 2 cups and getting raped is 2 gallons, like, if your container is only 1 cup, you can't take either of them, right? So it's not to, like I said, I'm not trying to quantitate. It's probably not the right word. I like to sound smart by using big words. That's probably not the right word, but I'm not sitting here saying that some struggles aren't worse than other struggles. What I'm saying is that all struggle is legitimate. Like, you need to acknowledge what you're struggling with. Don't look, to your left or to your right. You got to look at you. If you're sitting there comparing your stuff with other people, and like I said, that's what I did for the longest time. Like, you're gonna get hung up on yourself and be like, well, this person seems fine and he's seen worse, or and it's gonna hold you back, or it's gonna hold you back from helping other people because you look at this person and go like, what? Like, yeah, get out of here. Like, no, all struggle is struggle. My old man, my dad, I've noticed recently that if he starts talking about this conflict in Ukraine that's going on right now, he starts to get choked up. Like, does that mean he's like a weak person? No, it means he's an empathetic person. It doesn't, like, that's a good thing. Like, you can't sit here and compare yourself to others. You got to realize that your struggle is real, and you got to realize that all struggle is real. And that, like I said, that's the first step to getting anywhere in life. So, what's the point of all of this rambling that I've been going on and on about containers and all that? Well, it boils down to something really simple. If you're struggling with something, realize it, admit it. I don't really like to use the word admit, but because it makes it sound like it's a negative thing. Because you're not broken, like we talked about the word problems, right? You're not broken. Realize that you have some struggles, and then you can start making steps to work on it, right? Like I said, you're not broken. That you are not broken is going to be the topic for our second episode, which hopefully we'll be doing next week. I think once a week is a good thing. So I'm going to kind of end it right here with that. But just realize, if you're struggling, you're struggling. There's nothing wrong with it. Just realize it. Face it. Gotta face it, right? Anyways, if you feel the same way I do, if you like what I'm putting down, like, go ahead, leave a reaction on this video, leave a comment. Heck, if you disagree with me, let's go keyboard warrior, let me hear about it. Like, this is all about a positive discussion, right? And if we're not listening to others' opinions, we're not going to be growing. So let me know what you think. Agree, disagree, anything. Share this with your veteran friends if you like it, so that they can see it and put their thoughts down. Let's grow a community. Let's start talking about this stuff, and let's get healthier together. Much love.